definitely feel free to get the conversation started.
Can you tell us a little bit about yourself? Or is that part of your presentation?
This one. Stand up for now. I feel kind of. But my name is Carolyn again, and I worked as a business technology journalist for a little while after I graduated from Simmons College in 2007. That's how I became acquainted with BLU, and I studied English and philosophy in school, went to work on as a technology journalist, and I moved on and worked as an English for speakers of other languages program coordinator and teacher for a little while also. So I'm familiar with kind of immigration issues and kind of intercultural understanding, and I'm very interested in globalization, and so I've been fascinated by everything going on in Egypt, and with my background as a technology reporter, also with the technologies used to empower people who are seeking change. And so, and I also, I mean, you can see I've had this since I was working as a journalist, and I like to.
What is it?
It's a Linux Pocket Guide.
Oh.
And so I do what I can, and I figure out what I can, and I'm looking forward to sharing.
Are you going to be talking at all about the vote being taken tomorrow about cutting off public television and public radio?
I am familiar with that. I signed the petition, but I hadn't planned on discussing it. But do you have anything you'd like to share?
I'm just very worried about it, and I urge everybody, one place to go is just WGBH.org, and they have a place on their website where you can speak out about this. I think it would be catastrophic if that happens.
Right.
You're not going to places like China and Iran in terms of closing off the internet with the intranets and the ways people humble or they firewall or use shooting and that sort of thing programs in Iran.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool actually.
It is. And
people want the information.
right, yeah, I spoke with a woman who
who probably would be open to democracy and the status quo of the.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, but in Iran there are also issues that there's a vast underclass of people who don't have a lot of education or whatever, and who join the Revolutionary Guard simply because their parents want them to join it, because if they join the Revolutionary Guards, they'll get some pay, and they're less likely to get hooked on drugs. This is a major. They don't have enough opportunities, so there's a major problem with drug addiction. So, and one would
real cheap there.
Yeah,
wicked cheap.
Yeah, and so one issue is, do those people have the same access, as the educated people who, people like us who, I don't know the answer to that.
The answer is that some of them are coming around now.
Well, I mean, I would think eventually.
They are coming around.
But
they didn't want to join the Greens because they didn't want to be involved with the reformist movement, but they're joining other organizations now because they want change.
But even if you look at just the internet, you can go beyond that with with satellite television and stuff like that. You're getting several Arab networks.
Al Jazeera, awesome.
Al Jazeera,
Absolutely awesome.
even though it's not one of our favorite networks.
Well, it depends on what your views are. I mean, if you're a Muslim, it's pretty good. I mean,
Right, yeah.
they're very strongly against Israel, but most of the Arab world is too. So they accurately reflect that position.
Another factor is that a lot of people who don't have the money, people who are don't have access to technology, their main source is mobile phones for information and connecting and empowering themselves. And so with broadband, that's also a huge consideration. How is that going to factor out? There are these masses of people who are just getting their information through their phones, and how will that connect to how the internet and that kind of connection is developing also.
The mobile phone system inherently is much more set up to identify individual units without any effort at all. I mean, it won't work. In fact, you can't get into a mobile phone system without your unique serial number. So it's a lot more potential for control. And the GPS has even more potential for control if it's not used well.
But not for receiving, for sending.
Yeah. Well, no.
I mean, if you
just turn the phone on, you've logged in with your unique serial number on that phone.
Okay.
And if there's any GPS, and I wouldn't even believe the so-called feature that you can turn off the GPS.
No, but I mean,
you should think of it just being something that can be turned on without your knowledge anyway.
Yeah, I guess
It's only a bit.
I was thinking of accessing a web page, but I guess that can be traced too.
Oh, it's all traceable.
Yeah, okay.
It's much more traceable. It makes
That's
something
true.
hooked up to a broadband link almost anonymous by comparison. It's not only traceable, it automatically is nailed to your serial number just to get any kind of service at all. You can connect. Whereas you can, connect more anonymously on broadband if you know what you're doing. So the mobile phone has a lot of opportunity, but it also has a lot more opportunity for centralized control.
So speaking of centralized control, there were two interesting websites that were in the news a lot, which you were looking up there, Twitter and Facebook, and they were supposedly incredibly important to that Egyptian event that we all saw. And it would have been interesting if you consider what would have happened if that happened in, say, Wisconsin, where there is currently a protest. Of course, it's nothing like Egypt, but for instance, if the government, there said, there's too many people using Facebook, let's not shut down the mobile phone network because that's kind of a big deal. It'll stop a lot of business. We can't shut off people's internet access, but we can call up Mark Zuckerberg, and because we have jurisdiction in the United States, we could say, take down the Wisconsin Facebook pages and block everybody in Wisconsin from talking about whatever it is they're talking about. And that would work, unlike in Egypt where the president of Egypt cannot call up Mark Zuckerberg and he won't accept the call. And the same thing applies to Twitter and any other centralized service. So it's an interesting situation where if you consider the supposed freedoms that we have in this country and how easily they can be taken away because of the same centralized means that you were talking about with mobile phones, it's quite a different situation in Egypt.
Right. It was interesting. One thing that I found when I was looking up different news stories, it was actually harder to find U.S. news stories about kind of the broadband stories that I was looking for, in corporate and government control, and a lot of what I got was stories from like New Zealand and Australia and what's going on there around this, and so it kind of made me think about the dialogue that needs to happen here in we're at such a point of high activity around all this internet advancement, and I guess just with the development, the high level of development that's going on here, it just seems like the policy is not quite on the same level in the United States as it is in other places.
Frontier Foundation.
Yeah. Does some stuff on that. Once in a while, they real deep into U.S. Telecom Daily. They have some information on it too. Specifically with some of the laws we're going, like, for example, because the internet is considered part of our infrastructure, national infrastructure, Obama has the power to flip it off.
Yeah.
Like a light switch. And that's something that didn't exist a few years ago. You could literally shut the whole internet off, like flipping a light switch.
He didn't ask for it. He inherited it.
Yes.
He certainly has the power.
Right, but it's something that didn't exist. How many people? Like, only like 4 years ago, something like that didn't exist.
And what advantage does it really have? Does it protect the government from?
They have their own
doing?
internets.
Or does it protect the country?
It's part of the infrastructure, and I don't know what the purpose of shutting it off would accomplish.
It depend on who's doing it.
Well,
I mean,
protects
I
the
don't wanna
richest
guess.
people from free speech.
Business today depends on the internet.
You know, banking and
Yeah.
commerce and stuff like that. It's not likely that would happen. It's just that was stuff that was done behind closed doors. It wasn't done out in the open. Those decisions, and
Yeah,
that's.
but a lot that really smack. I mean, I don't know the story behind it, but it smacks of the sort of panic that occurred after 9/11. Like, oh my God, this could happen. Oh my God, that could happen.
Yeah.
Decisions made by people who basically don't know a heck of a lot about the details of what's going on, but have the ability to pass laws and can ram things through in a panic, when people are panicking. And those get hard to undo because then you get security experts coming in and saying, well, is this situation where it might be useful? And
My guess is that it would not do much to protect the country.
no, I mean,
Much it would do to
would
protect
bring the economy to a halt.
protect the regime.
It would.
It would bring the economy to a halt. I mean, I don't think it would protect the regime because the economy would itself instantly. So.
Send your router.
Set up your router and come in.
Yeah.
Learning from similar to that is